Hello everyone, welcome to our today's session. I am Animesh, the head convener of this session, and it's my gratitude as well as yours that we have Tanisha among us. She has a very exuberant personality. Tanisha is a pre-final year student from Modi University of Science and Technology. She is also an incoming intern at JP Morgan Chase. In our today's session, Tanisha is going to share uh, about her journey of hackathon Code for Cause and now how it helped her to get internship at JP Morgan Chase. So Tanisha.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for joining in today. By taking out your time to strategize your journey into your dream company, you've basically already taken your first step to success. So, today I hope that you will get a much clearer picture about the Code for Good hackathon. You get to know all about it, how to participate, my experience, how the judging works, some tips, some benefits, and, well, about the swags. I'm not going to fib. This was a very straightforward hiring process, and if I can do it, you can too. Before we jump right into it, let me tell you a little about myself. As you already know, I am Tanisha Mathur and a third year student at Modi University, Rajasthan. I am pursuing my BTech degree in computer science along with a specialization in big data analytics. So currently, I am a part of Google's flagship scholarship program for women, and I'm also doing an internship come traineeship from Target. I also freelance as a technical content writer, and last year I was a part of Flipkart's GWC training program. So, enough about me. Let's address the elephant in the room. How does JP Morgan Chase hire? So, to get hired by JP Morgan via their flagship Code for Good event, here is the comprehensive procedure. For first, we have the application stage, wherein you're required to fill in some of your basic details along with your resume. The next stage is the online coding assessment that is followed by the virtual video interview. We'll come to this soon. And finally, we have the Code for Good hackathon event. Moving on, let's talk about the hackathon, Code for Good. What does it mean? So, this hackathon focuses purely on coding for social good. During this hackathon, you'll be creating applications that benefit non-profit organizations. So this way, the NGOs that leverage the latest technology would work in a more efficient manner for our society. So, as you might already know, it is a 24-hour long hackathon where you'll be provided with mentors in case you get stuck. And prior to the hackathon, you'll have multiple informative sessions, such as networking sessions with the other students who also got selected, a hackathon survival guide. Trust me, this is very important. And some hackathon tool prep. We also had multiple workshops, such as the Flair workshop, understanding the power of empathy in coding, workshops on asking the right questions. Trust me, again, this is going to come very much in handy. Along with this, we also had absolutely riveting fireside chats. So all in all, you're going to have 4 long days of pure fun and bliss. Now, coming to the most important part, for the part that you're probably here for, it's the preparation strategy. Now, we already know that there is going to be a coding round and a virtual interview, and then we're going to have a hackathon. So, let's start with the coding round first. So, this coding round is conducted on HackerRank. It is a 60-minute test. Now, the level of the questions in this test is very low. You're going to have really easy to medium questions. So, you don't need to stress about this. The questions are going to be from array manipulation, bit manipulation, strings, or maximum about linked lists. Your test shouldn't take more than 30 minutes to complete. Although you are allotted with a good 60 minutes, it would not take you more than 30 minutes. I also finished my test in the first 12 minutes, so you can imagine how easy it was. Having said all of that, of course, you would still have to prepare for the coding assessment. A few websites that could really help you with this procedure for your coding questions would be Geeks for Geeks, needless to say, HackerRank, of course, since that is the website on which you're going to have your test. It is important that you get familiar with the environment. Uh, Two other websites are LeetCode and CodeChef. So, if you want to understand the basics of the language that you're going to code in, if you are not already familiar or if you have not already chosen a language of your choice, prefer Geeks for Geeks and HackerRank. You don't need to focus on the hard questions, just the easy medium ones. Once you're comfortable in the programming language, you can then move on to LeetCode and CodeChef. So while coding on CodeChef, you'd understand how to form the abstraction of a programming question. Like find the basic question that they're asking, the basic task that you have to perform. Most of the questions that you'll encounter in these online assessments, whether it is for JP Morgan or for any other company, there are going to be stories. Some might even be very mind boggling. So it is important that you have some practice in finding the abstraction of a problem. So on LeetCode, you can start by practicing the easy questions on arrays and strings, and you'd be good to go. So coming to the next stage, once you have cleared this coding assessment, the scary segment is all over, basically. You now have a virtual interview. So what's different about this interview is that this interview is not going to be with a person, right? It's going to be with a bot. So essentially, you're going to have one question that is going to be displayed on your screen, and you're going to use their recording software to answer that question. So use no more than 1 minute to answer, and you would also have the option of re-recording your answer. So now I'll give you some tips for your virtual interview. So since this is an interview with a bot, you need to make sure of a few things. The first being lighting. So make sure that you're sitting in a place that has ample lighting. If you have specs, make sure that there is no glare and that your face is clearly visible. You must be sitting in a quiet place, right? This is obviously very important. There should be no disturbance. It is essential that your voice is conveyed coherently in your interview. So inform your family or the people in your surroundings and sit in a quiet place. Speak explicit English. Try not to stutter so that you're clearer and you also sound confident. So the questions in your virtual interview are not going to be technical at all, right? They would be solely based on you. Some of the probable questions are tell me about a time you demonstrated leadership, or maybe talk about a problem that you solved, or what are the projects that you are most proud of and why. So these are a few of the sample questions that you could encounter in your interview. And acing this stage would be really easy if you have answers to such questions prepared beforehand. Another very important tip that I cannot stress enough on is practice your answers before a mirror. This is very essential. Your body conveys a lot more about you than your words. Okay, coming to the final stage, the hackathon. So I'll first give you all the details about the hackathon, right? You already know that it is a 24-hour hackathon. Prior to the hackathon, this is very important. You are going to be asked to fill a survey. This is going to be information about you and your tech stack. Now, why is this essential? It's because your team is going to be allotted to you on the basis of your tech stack. So be sure to fill in only the skills that you are actually comfortable working in. If you have read, say, you don't know JavaScript, but you have read the basics of it, and if you fill it in that survey, it's not going to be helpful for you, as you might be teamed up with a team that would be very proficient in JavaScript, and you might be slotted in a team. Your team could have a similar or a complementary skill set so that you have a fully functional project. Basically, it's a random allotment. Now, once you have your survey done, you have all of this ready, you are prepared, you will be invited to join two workspaces for your collaboration purpose. The first workspace is Slack. So just make sure that you're comfortable with the whole Slack environment. And the second workspace is JP Morgan's workspace. That is where you're going to make your project submission. So while you are having your workshops and fireside chats, as I mentioned earlier, you will be provided with details about the non-profit organizations that you would be working for. This is done so that you get an idea about the problem statement. So one of the sessions that you would have during the whole bootcamp stage of your hackathon is an interactive session where you can hear firsthand from the NGO. This session is going to be really important because this is where you can ask the questions to the NGO. You can specify the problem statement more. You are going to get a much more clearer idea of what they want. That is when you can actually understand how you can actually leverage technology to help that NGO function. Come post that, the next stage is one of the most stressful stages. It might sound funny, but it is genuinely very stressful. This is the problem statement allotment stage. It is basically a race between your fingers and time. So with your team, you must go through all the problem statements and decide an order or your priority. Basically, you need to select your top 2 or 3 statements. When the form is rolled out, you are required to give your preferences, and this is the stage that is the most stressful, because this is, as I said, a race between your finger and time. Fastest fingers first. So you will then be allotted your problem statement and you will start working on it immediately. Throughout the 24-hour hackathon, you will be provided with two mentors per team. So these are the ones judging you. Make sure you put your best front in front of them. Let's put it this way, your internship is in their hands. So you get how important this is. They're going to watch you work. They're going to help you design your project. They're going to help you present it. They'll also give you unique selling points about your project. And they will also provide any technical help if required. Now, it might happen that the mentors are unable to help you through technically through the hackathon. So you can always contact people who we called SMEs at the hackathon. They will be available 24 hours, and any technical help you can take from them. Now, coming to the judging, you're going to have 2 rounds. In the first round of judging, you are going to have your panelists as NGO members as well as judges from JP Morgan. So you are going to first demonstrate your solution along with the presentation. Your demonstration is going to be in the form of a video. You are going to record yourself demonstrating your solution, and side by side, you are required to present your presentation or your PPT, whatever you have created. And then, of course, like every other presentation, you're going to be asked questions on your solution. From the number of teams that have been allotted a problem statement, only 2 teams will be able to progress to the second round, where they battle it out for the winner of the hackathon. There is one winning team per problem statement. So if you have 8 problem statements, you have 8 winning teams. Now you are aware of the flow of the hackathon, so I'll give you some tips. Start off with the flow chart of your application, the solution flow. If your solution is a web application, it's important to decide its flow from the login to the end solution. Your system design is as important as your flow. Once you have worked out the flow of your solution, you should next discuss the problems or any positive points of your solution with the team. This is the most important step. You need to be very clear with your solution. The next step that you should do is to delegate the tasks in your team, the front end, the scripting, and the back end. Another very important tip that most people do not put much focus on is that don't try to integrate everything in your solution. Your solution does not have to be helpful in every situation. Don't stray from the basic problem that you are trying to solve. Focus only on the problem that you are trying to solve, and focus only on the problem that is given to you. Say you have to create an application that essentially gives you the you given some input and the application gives you some output. Is a chatbot really required in this scenario? I don't think that a chatbot is required. Don't focus on other things that would tie you down to newer problems. Focus just on the problem that you are solving. Another important tip is make sure that your tech stack used by your team can be integrated properly. For example, PHP might not be a very good integration choice with Python, right? Next, work on your solution timely. Because in the last 2 hours or so, you're going to have to prepare your video presentation, and trust me, it takes a lot of time. If you get stuck, seek help immediately. Don't wait for too long. Another tip that I'd like to stress on a lot is make good use of GitHub. Right? GitHub is a collaboration tool, just in case you are not aware of it. Make sure that you are comfortable with GitHub commands prior to the hackathon. This is going to be very important. Also, during the judging, they might look at your Git commit history. So it makes a lot of sense if you make good use of GitHub. Another very important philosophical tip: any person who wants to cut down a tree in 8 hours spends 6 hours sharpening their axe. I'm sure you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Time spent planning on Time spent on planning the solution is much more important than actually implementing it. So that's it for the preparation part from my side. You're going to totally ace it. Now I'd like to tell you a bit about my hackathon experience. So, well, starting off with the coding and the virtual interview round, they were easy. They were not complicated at all. I was able to complete my coding round in about 12 minutes. Coming to the hackathon, the main experience. So CFG 2021 had team changes right before. So like we got comfortable with our team, and then our team got changed just 1.5 days before the hackathon. My tech stack in the new team was absolutely different from that of the rest of my team. So I was kind of an outsider looking for making a web application using probably Django or Flask. And my teammates were into PHP, JavaScript, and basic HTML, CSS, which I knew absolutely nothing about. So anyway, we found a way out. I was then working on the scripts that were easy to do in Python, such as the machine learning part or basic text to speech and so on and so forth. So even though we faced problems in integration because of our tech stack, we managed to make our web application work, which is why I'd like to stress on the fact that make sure that your tech stack is good. Now, we also had a problem that we were stuck on for quite some time, and our mistake was it was probably our biggest mistake that brought us down. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out the solution to that problem, all five of us. Uh, we were already about 10 hours into the hackathon, and we didn't seek help for that problem. So, seeking for help at a very early stage, preferably while you're discussing the problem, is very important. So Kiran and I, well, we spent about 45 minutes trying to first read about the problem. We spent another 1 hour trying to implement solutions that were given on the web. We scanned Stack Overflow from everywhere. We checked on GitHub. We weren't able to find any solution. And after 2 hours of struggling, about 2 or 2.5 hours of struggling, we finally contacted the SMEs. This brought us down by a lot. In those 2 hours, I could have implemented things I already knew, or maybe if I would have asked for help a lot earlier, judges are your mentors. So throughout the hackathon, throughout the 24 hours, my mentors were closely observing how each and every person worked towards solving a technical problem or putting out fire in the team. Of course, you are random people, you don't know each other, you're not friends, you are definitely going to have some or the other fires in the team. This is a good time to demonstrate your leadership skills. During the hackathon, we were also asked basic questions on the problems that we were trying to solve and how we were doing it. So now our team didn't obviously make it to the second round and we didn't win either, but we had a lot of fun building our web application. So that is all there is to Code for Good. I am now open to any questions that you may have. Anivesh, let's get the questions coming.
Actually, Tanisha, there is a complete farrago. I mean, I don't know why, but this session was not live on YouTube. So we may go. We have to end the season. So thank you so much, everyone who have watched our complete video, and this is really a wonderful event. Now, if you have any queries, I have already dropped Tanisha's LinkedIn profile in our contact details. So you may ask your queries there. Thank you so much, Tanisha, for uh, in- accepting my invitation.
Thank you.